Brunch. The meal that allows you to make an absolute buffoon of yourself and have alcohol before 8 a.m. But what really is brunch? Is it being able to eat breakfast food after noon? Or is it the ability to consume your body weight in mimosas? I don't really have the answer to this question, but what I do have is a recipe for you today that I think will bring your brunch to that next level. So whether you like brunch, breakfast food, lunch, or just food, and even if you don't like food, maybe it's the alcohol, just watch what I'm going to cook for you, okay? I've got a recipe that's perfect for you. Today, we are making a protein bowl that is packed with protein and delicious flavors that are gonna help you hit your gains or simply just fill you up after bottomless mimosas. Here is what you are gonna need. You're gonna need your choice of protein. I'm using some nice pieces of steak here. You could use chicken thighs, you could use ground turkey, pork. Possibilities are endless. We've got 1 yellow onion, a bell pepper, and 2 sweet potatoes, along with either a cast iron skillet or a pan to do all of our cooking in. Now, additionally, you're also gonna need some things like a plastic cutting board and some bowls to collect all of our fantastic ingredients. Okay, so first things first, we are going to slice up our steak into nice, beautiful cubes. And now some of you might be wondering and asking, why? Why, Mr. C? Why? Because I said so, and what I say goes. Not really, I just, why not, Okay, so we're just gonna cut these into about 1-inch sized cubes, okay? So cut these one direction. Like so. And then we will take our meat and cut it the other direction. We're gonna take about half of these. Okay, and again, just nice little bite-sized 1-inch cubes. You could obviously cook the steak prior, okay? And, cut it up then. I'm gonna go ahead and just cut these now, okay? Onto our plate there. So there's our one steak. Now this particular dish is perfect for somewhere between 2 to 4 people, depending on how many ingredients you are using, okay? The ingredients we have here today, this is perfect probably for 2 to 3 people. If you're cooking for more than that, double, triple your recipe. Just be aware that, you're gonna need twice as much protein to make sure everyone hits those gains. Am I right? Okay. We will wrap up cutting and cubing our steak here. Perfect. Okay. Now, for right now, we are going to put this off to the side. I'm going to clean up my surface here, and I will see you in just a second to prepare our veggie and season our cubed steak. Don't go anywhere, people. We're back. Next up, we got to prep our veggies. Now, I feel like I need to say this, okay? But when using things like raw meat, okay, always cut on a plastic cutting board or some other form of cutting board. Don't use wood. That raw meat tends to get absorbed into the wood. Don't want that. Yeah, we don't want, disease, bacteria, all the bad stuff that comes with, cooking. The other thing is always make sure you clean your cutting utensil or any utensils that you were working with. Buy yourself a nice pair of, food grade gloves. Makes cleanup a breeze. Now, to prep our veggies, I'm going to use a bowl here to collect all of our veggies. I am also using a small mixing bowl. I like to use that for any and all scraps with my veggies that I am working with. I find it helps to make cleanup a breeze and kind of helps move things along as I go. Now, we're going to cut our onion in half here. I like to peel that kind of first layer off, like so. Okay, so now we have 2 halved onions here. Now, I'm going to go about, I would say, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch slices one direction. Turn it and go about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch slices the other direction. Okay? This allows for a nice dice, and it'll go perfect in our protein bowl. Okay, into the bowl those will go. So there's half of our onion right there. And we'll do the same thing with our other half. Quarter inch to 1/2 inch one way, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch the other way. Okay. Perfect. All right. Now that our onion is prepared, let's prepare our bell pepper. Okay. Now, I'm using a red bell pepper. Use green, orange, yellow, use whatever bell pepper you would prefer. I've also used sweet peppers, which I find at the grocery store in those little bags. Comes in a whole bunch. I find that those are also delightful in this protein bowl. Okay. Now these, again, I'm going to kind of do the same. Cut these into about 1/4 to 1/2 inch dices. Okay. Now, when you are cooking your protein bowl here, feel free to omit or add any ingredients, okay? You like spicy, toss in a jalapeno, okay? You like freshness and greenery, toss in some spinach after you're done cooking. It truly is up to you on what you want to add, okay? I'm kind of just giving you a generic, basic version, but make it your own, Do you, do you. That's what I usually tell my students, Do what works best for you. Not everybody is going to like the way that they're taught. Not everybody is going to get it the first time around. So do what works best for you, okay? Obviously, there are some things, right, that maybe you can't do in this recipe, okay? For example, I wouldn't add, raw or cooked pasta. At some point, it's no longer a protein bowl. It's like piata. It's like, it's like a spaghetti bowl, which I guess could still, help you hit your gains, just maybe in a different way. I don't know. Anyways, all right, so our bell pepper is done. Okay, beautiful. Now, for our sweet potatoes, we are going to need to peel them. Okay, shout out to my friends in Columbus. They like to go wild and crazy, and they just eat the skin, so they usually just cut it and cube it. Again, do what works best for you. And that's the cook and teach promise, I think. Anyways, so we're just going to peel our sweet potato here. Should have gotten a larger bowl. Not all of these shavings are making it in. Okay. Well, here we go. Here we go. 2 for 2, 3 for 3, baby. He's on fire now. Okay. Now, I like to use the sweet potato. Okay. I find that it has more health benefits than maybe a regular potato, you know, a russet or a Yukon, if you would. But does that mean that you have to use sweet potatoes? No, of course not. Okay, some people don't like sweet potatoes. It does kind of give a more sweetness to this dish, okay? I will also point out that the sweet potato, a little bit softer, a little bit more malleable than its counterparts, right? Like a Yukon or a russet, okay? So keep that in mind, that if these are kind of cooked well done, they might be a little bit more mushy, okay? It might not hold its potato form, and that's okay. All right, so I usually cut just like the small ends off of our sweet potato here. Now, this would make for a great compost pile. You know, just saying, all my gardeners out there, you know, shout out to the gardeners and the farmers, you know, it's a tough gig. All right, so we're going again, keeping it consistent, about 1/4 to 1/2 inch slices. Then what I will do is I will take about 2 or 3 of these, a stack of these, and I'll cut it in half one way and then cut it a couple times another way. Okay, it kind of creates these kind of larger cube, almost like log type shaped looking pieces. I like the variation in size with the sweet potato. I think with that, it kind of creates a better bite, in my opinion. But again, do what works best for you. Okay, we are almost done with our veggies here. And then we will move on to the main event, our protein. And we're gonna keep it pretty simple with our seasoning. Ooh, oh boy, look out. In terms of seasoning the steak, okay? Not gonna go anything too crazy. Little S&P, some olive oil. And that's all she wrote. All right. One final little slice and dice here. All right, perfect. Now, you'll notice my cutting board is pretty clean, okay? Again, helps keep the messes to a minimum and kind of keeps things going. Okay, into a large mixing bowl, we are going to add our protein. Then we are going to give it just a generous amount of olive oil, okay? Just enough to kind of coat. Then hit it with some cracked black pepper. And a few pinches of salt. Okay? Then what you're going to do is we're going to take a fork or a spoon and just kind of mix this around, get everything evenly coated in that olive oil, that salt, and pepper. Already smells fantastic. All right. Now, all of our ingredients are ready to go, which means we're ready to head over to the stove and get to cooking and get ready to assemble this beautiful protein bowl. I'll meet you over at the stovetop. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're at the stovetop. We've got our pan here. We're gonna hit it with a little bit of olive oil. Right now, we are sitting at high heat. Just to kind of start, once we add in our protein and veggies will kind of change the temperature, okay? But first, we're gonna kind of let this heat up just a second, and then in goes our protein. Now, we wanna get a nice color on our pieces of steak, okay? So it's important that we kind of keep an eye on it, but also like let the heat, let the pan, let it do its thing, okay? As you can kind of see, you're already starting to see some of that color, okay, kind of come up. Because the steak is already pre-cut into these nice kind of bite-sized pieces, really, it shouldn't take very long for us to sear on one side and then kind of give it a toss and sear on the other sides. Then we're gonna take this meat out. We're gonna kind of pan fry really quick our veggies and then toss the meat back in. So if it's not completely cooked through when we take the meat out, that's okay, because it will go back into the pan when we kind of combine everything. So we'll give this another minute or two. Again, I'm starting to see some nice kind of browning starting to pop up on some of the edges and on the sides as it cooks. That's exactly what we are looking for. But we want a nice Maillard, we want a nice, color, some flavor, some texture to our protein. Okay, give this a nice little mix. All right. Kind of get a couple pieces there. Beautiful. That's exactly what we're looking for. Maybe let it go just maybe another minute or two on this other side, but otherwise, then I think we're about almost there to get ready to pull these out. Okay, again, these are going to go back into our pan, so if everything's not cooked all the way through, that is a-okay. Okay, we don't want it raw, but it's okay if there's a little bit of pink still mixed in there. This smells fantastic. Now, it's important when taking these out, okay, we want all of that flavor to be left in the pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, not add, I'm going to use some tongs here. Kind of give these one more little toss, get some of that color. And just kind of put that into a small mixing bowl here. And again, these will also continue to cook in the bowl, that residual heat. So these are right where we want them to be. Some of these smaller pieces might be a little bit more medium well, okay? All right, now, you see all this stuff? All that beautiful brown, this kind of stuff I'm scraping off, right? We want that. That's that flavor. That's what we're looking for. In go our veggies. Now, with our veggies, okay, these are going to take, I would say, anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, okay? The reason being is because those sweet potatoes, right, these are much bigger pieces, and it's going to take a little bit for these to kind of cook all the way through to where we want them, okay? I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil here. And then I'm going to also add equal parts, okay, some Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and for a little heat, I added some crushed red pepper, okay? This is all about equal parts, about 1 teaspoon of each. Okay, give that just a quick little mix. Get everything coated on our veggies. Now again, if you're somebody who's, not a big fan of spice, not a big fan of heat, that's okay. Don't add the crushed red pepper, okay? You don't like the way onion powder or garlic powder tastes, get rid of it, okay? Add your spices that you prefer, okay? This would be great with a little smoked paprika, a little cumin in there, okay? Possibilities are endless. All right, we're gonna let this kind of do its thing for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I will see you back here when we add our protein in and add one final ingredient that I think is really gonna bring this all together. As you can see, our veg has got a beautiful, nice little char to it. Sweet potatoes are cooked just perfectly. They're still got a little bit of a bite to them, but they're tender enough that once we throw in our steak here, which is what I'm gonna do right now, they should soften up nicely. Now, I did mention before that there was one final ingredient that is gonna bring this protein bowl to the finish line. And that, my dear friends, before I reveal the secret ingredients, I'm gonna make 3 little tiny, kind of little crevices here in our dish, okay? And if you haven't caught on yet, if you aren't familiar with the famous and delicious dish shakshuka, our final ingredient is eggs. And like I mentioned, this is kind of like shakshuka, so what we're gonna do is just simply put those eggs in our little crevices and allow the heat and everything to poach these eggs. And that's it, folks. I will meet you back over at the kitchen island for our final taste tests and to show you how this dish ends. Well, there you have it, folks. A protein bowl that is packed with flavor and deliciousness. All that's left to do is dig in. Now, I like mine with a little bit of spinach, so I like to go ahead and just take a bowl, put a little spinach there at the bottom of my bowl, and then serve me up some of this beautiful looking breakfast. Make sure we get a little bit of everything in here. Oh yeah. This looks fantastic. Ooh. All right. And to finish it off with our beautiful poached egg. Huh? Look at that. Come on. Look at this. Tell me that that doesn't look delicious. Tell me it doesn't look delicious. Now, if you know me, if you know Mr. C, sriracha, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, okay? But for this protein bowl, only sriracha. A little drizzle. All right. Protein bowl, here we go. Oh, the egg is nice and jammy still. Make sure we get a little bit of everything. Some of the sweet potato, some of that pepper, I think of spinach. Now that is a bite. Oh. They could serve this at a restaurant and I would buy it. I said it. So much flavor. The sweet potato has a nice sweetness to it. It's soft when you bite into it, but it's not mushy. It's not like it just like is paste and it melts in your mouth. It is toothsome. You bite into it, it's nice and soft. Those pieces of steak are nice and tender. They're not well done, they're not chewy. And the rest of it, the veggies, just the bright, fresh tastes and colors. And who doesn't like a good egg, right? I mean, can you have a protein bowl without an egg? I suppose. This definitely is going to be hitting my family rotation. Thank you so much for watching. What do you want to see me cook next? What is your favorite breakfast, lunch, or brunch item? What is an underrated brunch cocktail? Thank you again. As always, I am Mr. C, the Cook and Teach. And this is Cook and Teach out.